Hello and welcome, my name is Mr. SixFour and you have somehow on YouTube found your way to my channel. Let me give a quick introduction to myself and the channel. My name is Mr. SixFour, I'm 20 years old and I'm from Scotland, as you can probably tell by the accent. On this channel you'll see many a thing, mostly flight though, and Arma battle footage. But mostly flight, as that's my kind of area, the thing I do. Now I am relatively new to YouTube. I do understand this, and at the moment it's more of a hobby than anything. And I'm still kind of getting used to Sony Vegas Pro 9, which I find very good. It's a very good editor, but I'm still getting used to it. So my newer videos aren't going to be, you know, Frankie on PC level kind of stuff, but I am trying and they'll get better as they go along. Now some news about the channel. Some of the series I have coming up, first of all. The first series I plan to release is the Arma Aviation Flight School series. Now this series will be great for people who are new to flight in Arma and want to learn more. The reason I decided to make this was because of DayZ. Some of the guys I were playing with don't know how to fly for shit. Sorry Hellraisers, but it's true. Now, the series will be great because, take this as a scenario. Your team have just found the chopper, one of the only choppers on the map, and the primary pilot who would usually fly can't get there. And say you've got to get the chopper out of there quick, you've got enemy players converging on your position, and you don't have enough men to hold them off. Now, the pilot, whoever that may be chosen to be, may not have the same skills that the primary pilot has, so you just basically need to get the chopper out of there and into the hands of the proper pilot as soon as possible, so that you don't lose the chopper. Now, this flight school will be imperative for those type of people, because they will ultimately learn the skills needed to do that. But also, the series will be great for seasoned Arma pilots who just want to pick up some new tricks. Now, why am I one of the best people to teach you? Well, not trying to big myself up, but I have over 10 years experience playing the Arma games, back when Operation Flashpoint came out in about 2000. Obviously I wasn't the best pilot when I started off, nobody is, but over these 10 years I've picked up a lot of different moves and a lot of different techniques. Basically I know the engine inside out by now, I know what it's capable of, and I know what it does. Some newer players really don't grasp this so well to start with. I know I sure as hell didn't. But some of the things covered in this flight school will be basic aviation, basic helicopter aviation, and basic jet aviation. Then it will go on to moderate and expert levels. Now the second series I have lined up is an Arma 2 Vietnam machinima. Sons of Nam is a story following Captain Vince Harkin and his merry men through Vietnam in 1960. Now, the war's raged on for about 6 years now, and Mr. Harkin and his men have grown tired of fighting. So they try to lighten the mood by usual derpy encounters that you would expect from Vietnam GIs. They get high, they shoot at a lot of shit, they cry, they run, and they are ultimately scared for their own lives. But it does have a good comedic backdrop, as well as maintaining a level of seriousness you would expect from most Arma players. I've got a lot of ideas for it, it's still in the works, it will probably take a lot longer than the
Descend and maintain 13,000, Monarch 124.
So yeah, Sons of Nam will probably take a little bit longer than the Flight School series to film and edit, so please wait for it, it'll be good, I promise. Now at this point in the flight, the air traffic controller has just contacted me, telling me to descend and maintain 13,000 feet. Now, I do this by fiddling with the altitude knob on, no pun intended, on the autopilot controls, which means it will automatically descend and maintain 13,000 feet, without me having to actually touch the control column. I've also at this point in the flight just put on the seatbelt sign to let the passengers know we're making our final descent into the Canary Islands.
World travel 2658, descend and maintain 8,000. Descend and maintain 8,000. World travel 2658. Monarch 124, you are 55 miles north. Turn right heading 225, expect vectors, ILS, runway 3 left approach, orbit 2248, you are...
At this point in the flight, the air traffic controller has just contacted me, letting me know my entry pattern to the airport. I will be taking runway 3 left, and I will now be turning to a heading of 255, which I will use the knob on the autopilot control to turn to that heading. The plane will automatically bank and maintain that heading. Now, the approach I've been given is an ILS approach, which means I'll be using the autopilot to land, as I said earlier. As you can see here, I've just pulled up the aircraft's onboard GPS system. From here I can see more information about the airport, how far it is above sea level, all the radio frequencies I need, and if you look at the 1 second from the bottom, ILS runway 3 left is the radio frequency I need to put into the nav part of the radio. The nav part of the radio is the part which the autopilot will control to set up an approach. And basically the radio frequency will be assigned to that runway so the autopilot knows which runway to approach at. Which I tried to do here, but I was unfamiliar with the radio controls of the aircraft and didn't realise there was an outer button. So here, I just fiddled around for a bit until I found out how to work it.
Climb and maintain flight level 310. Turn left heading 170. Monarch 124.
Now the air traffic controller is just giving me a heading to go to, and during my descent he will keep feeding me headings to a point where I will be inside the airspace and I can switch on the nav part of the autopilot, which will then automatically line up an approach. As you can see here in the flight, we started to get below the clouds now, and we're hitting severe weather on the descent into the Canary Islands.
You are 29 miles southwest, turn left heading 060, descend and maintain 3,000. Clear ILS, runway 3 left approach, maintain 3,000 until established on the loop.
Now what the air traffic controller has just told me, he's given me my final vectors for the approach. He's told me to descend and maintain 3,000 feet, which I have done, or I'm now doing, and he's told me I'm cleared for the ILS approach on runway 3 left. This doesn't mean I'm cleared to land yet, but he's just telling me basically that he's put me in the queue of people to land. Some nice cinematic shots. I don't know who the fuck's taking their yacht out in this weather. Whoever they are is just a complete dick. Now at this point, I'm making my final approach, which means I'm about to land. And as you can see, the weather is catastrophically bad at this point. The airplane is shaking all about the place due to the high winds. Now as I trip autopilot off, it becomes even harder to get a grip of the plane. There is a strong crosswind which puts me off course a little bit to the runway, but I managed to get it back soon enough. This landing is seriously one of the hardest I've ever had in all my years of playing this game. But let's remember, I've just reinstalled the game, so I'm just still getting used to the controls. At this point my flaps are extended to full, and I've reduced the throttle all the way to idle. Now as you see, as I get closer to the runway here, I had a very nasty crosswind which sends the plane both ways tilting. If I hadn't reacted quickly enough, I would have had to abort the landing, power up and take off again, but thankfully I managed to get the situation under control. Now as the plane speeds down the very wet tarmac here, I do nearly flip the plane entirely, because as I tried to keep the plane in the middle of the runway, it nearly flips onto its left side, which would have been quite catastrophic, but I managed to get it under control quickly enough. And I come to a rolling stop at the end of the runway, at which point I taxi off to the left after the air traffic controllers told me to get off the runway.
Monarch 124, exit runway when able. Untit 1.7 for Monarch 124.
As you can see here, I start going off onto the taxiway,
Gran Canaria FSX.
and I stop and turn off my landing lights. Now I've just requested permission to taxi to a gate, which the air traffic controller has approved, and I've turned on the progressive taxi because I'm still kind of new to this. I'm relearning it all again. I did used to play it years ago, but I had to uninstall it, so I'm kind of new to it again, which amazes me I even made this landing at all. So that's why I turn on the progressive taxiway. Now the great thing about this simulator is there's varying levels of realism for everyone. So the pro pilots and real world pilots probably won't have to turn on the progressive taxiway, and they can have more realism settings. But as I haven't played the game in so long, I like to keep it on, because it keeps me right and I know where I'm going on the taxiway. So I'm about to make a right turn into my parking space here that's been assigned to me by the air traffic controller, and at this point it's pretty much an end for me at this flight. This flight took me about 3 or 4 hours using Microsoft Flight Simulator X. And here we go, I'm at the parking gate. Once I've parked, I'll turn off the engines and turn off the power, and that'll be me. So thanks very much for watching this, guys. Thanks very much for putting up with my voice. It's a new experience for me putting my voice out there. So, you know, if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm Mr. SixFour, and I'll see you soon.